So we're here at Cardrona Distillery, and we're here to meet Kenny to take us through and show us the distillery and how it works, and tell us a little bit about what they're producing.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, look, I think it's exciting. I don't know how many actual distilleries there are in New Zealand, but look, I do know that there's not a lot that are actually up in the mountain ranges, and we are currently, as we said, in Cardrona. Cardrona is a ski resort.
But it's also an old gold mining town some many years ago.
Yep.
So it's changed. We've got a wonderful skiing area around here.
We've got mountains both sides of us. We've got brilliant water coming through these mountains. So I guess that's a big part of it for them, that they're able to utilise that beautiful mountain water in their product. Very excited. It's brand new. The owners of this distillery obviously have put a fair bit of time and energy into creating this distillery that we can see around us.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to trying their products.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Oh, look forward to it. So we'll we'll
catch up with you soon. So I'm Guy, this is Boaz, and we look forward to showing you a little bit more about the Cardrona Distillery.
Ingredient that we use to make spirits is this. This is malted barley. Malted barley is specific. It's a distiller's type of grain that we use. Now, barley grows all around the world. We'd love to use in New Zealand malted barley. However, being a distillery, we need distiller's malt. There are very few distilleries in New Zealand using malted barley for distilling. There are lots of distilleries producing other types of spirits, but not single malt distilleries. We are very uncompromising, and certainly we don't want to use the wrong ingredients. We've built a wonderful distillery, and we want to use the best ingredients possible. Sure. Strangely enough, when looking for barley, we knew that it could grow here, but the problem was really the malting. When you're malting your barley for whiskey, you never want to exceed the temperature of 65 degrees Celsius.
So where did we get the barley from?
This comes from the North of England.
Oh, okay. So why didn't you look at something closer, say from Australia or?
So again, the single malt variety that we want, we wanted either Concerta or Odyssey. These two varieties. When looking for ingredients, certainly it would be nice to go across and then say, oh look, we've got Australian malted barley. However, when you're thinking about the best single malt whiskies in the world, you don't necessarily go straight to Australia or straight to New Zealand. You go to Scotland.
Yeah.
You think, well,
so are the Scottish making barley?
Yeah, of course. They make more whiskey than anyone. Single malt spirits, that's probably the biggest industry. That's the biggest industry in Scotland, probably. From here, our malted barley, we want to process it. So first step in the processing is milling. Downstairs we have our mill, two sets of rollers. As the barley falls between the rollers, it crushes it. We turn it into what we classify as grist. This is grist. Complex little mistress. We've got 70% of grit, that's the gritty white substance, 20% of the husk of the barley, and 10% flour. Okay. Yeah, so to put it in layman's terms, the grit, the larger particle, that's really where all the sugar lies. The husk acts as filtration. The flour, you don't want too much flour. Flour becomes, I suppose, an impermeable membrane, and also it becomes a bit gluey. Makes for more cleaning. Okay. Yeah, so just that perfect ratio. We've got our mill set just to roll that and crush it down to this texture.
Yeah, okay.
From here, our grist.
It's a bit of a pulse.
It is. From here, our grist goes into our mash tun, where we're trying to extract the sugar. And we do that by introducing hot water. So when we bring in, firstly, we do 3 washes. The 6,000 litres of wort that we've removed from that sugar liquid, that barley water, into our wash tank. Inside this tank, 6,000 litres of our sugar water, our barley water, will be introduced to about 4 kilos of yeast. really strong distiller's yeast. Distiller's yeast is ferocious. It gets to work really, really quickly producing alcohol. Now, yeast eats sugar, creates alcohol and CO2. CO2 out through the chimney. We make about as much CO2 as a bakery. So we're quite lean on, and we're not hurting the environment, so to speak. The alcohol stays inside the liquid. Now, in the first 24 hours, the yeast that we've added will do all of its work and create most of the alcohol, up to about 8%.
Have you got this at a certain temperature?
Nope. The yeast will work, and if you hold your arm inside, you'll feel there's actually a bit of heat coming from it, but that's really the interaction of the yeast and the sugar. Okay. We're not having to keep this warmer. Be careful. Tasty stuff. Yeah.
Really do, wouldn't it?
So 6,000, these have a 10,000 litre capacity. And to that, we'll only fill 6,000 because when we add our yeast, it grows.
Yes.
It rises, and we don't want it to rise out of the tank. We want to keep it all the goodness inside. That 6,000 litres over the first day will produce all the alcohol. The next, 70 hours is all it takes. And in the first 24 hours, the yeast will die. In the following 50 hours, the natural enzymes will start to work. So creating weird, wonderful flavour. Making what we say is bad beer. Bad beer equals good spirits, and good beer equals bad spirits. Yeah, we make bad beer and good whiskey. This is a traditional copper pot still. And as you can see, it's made by a Forsyth and Rothers company. They're from Scotland. And we had these transported across. And when you need the best equipment for distillation for single malt whiskey, well, you look for the best guy for source. You go for the source. Now what's happening in here? We took our 2,000 litres of our crude beer from the other room. It's already got its alcohol. And this is a single batch distillation. We take that 2,000 litres, we bring it inside this tank, and we bring up the temperature. Now, we know that water boils at just over 100 degrees, depending on where you are in the world, to turn to steam. We know that alcohol or ethanol, well, that will boil slightly lower. We're looking at probably at 78 degrees Celsius. And we know that if we can keep the temperature in this stage above 78, below 100 degrees Celsius, we can remove the alcohol from the non-alcohol. Yeah, that's what we do. So you can see, inside here there's quite a lot of action going on at the moment. We have the beer bubbling away inside. You can see these bubbles. Now the idea is, with the window, we make sure to keep a very close eye so as not to distill up and over. We want certainly to keep monitoring this to make sure that we're on that kind of edge, so we're distilling efficiently, but never to distill over. I mean, that's not distillation, that's just boiling it. Yeah. And in this conical shape, all that alcohol is captured. That alcohol that's captured comes up and along this arm into our recondenser. Now the cold water enters here. 12 big pipes take that water up, and as it comes into contact with that alcohol, it cools it down, turns it back into liquid. The liquid travels along this pipe. It's pretty plain to see. In fact, from the action in here, you can see lots of action inside our spirit set. So the alcohol that we remove from the beer, we classify this as our low wine. The low wine is essentially all of the alcohol from that beer, from that crude beer that we created. Over the course of a day, we'll receive roughly 700 litres of 25% alcohol. So that's the average. Average is out to about 25%. That's not whiskey. It's nowhere near. It's just all of the alcohol. What we want to do to make a whiskey is refine that alcohol and remove the elements that we don't like and keep the elements that we do like. And we do that by using our secondary still. This is our spirit still. So this is a wash still, this is a spirit still. Now the idea with the spirit still is to slowly stretch the alcohol so that you can bring up the temperature but very, very slowly remove the elements that you like and remove the elements that you don't like also. Now we know that by nature alcohol, as it comes up in temperature, the lighter, nasty compounds of alcohol are the ones that they evaporate first. We know that we can remove our methylated spirits or sulfates and the bad tasting compounds. They'll come away early on in the distillation. In fact, the first 2% of our distillate is bad. We don't want it. We don't want to be known as that distillery. As it rises up, it travels along our arm and into our root condenser. And along this pipe, at this stage, we have a little choice maker. You notice this handle, as I give it a little jiggle,
Yeah, it can flick.
It flicks. It turns the flow from one side to the other. You go ahead. You do your thing, Raymond. Raymond's our distiller today. Now, the first cut. Those nasty elements, the bad alcohols, we don't want those. We send those into this receiver. They'll go downstairs into a tank below. Gone but not forgotten. They're not waste, not yet. No. The second cut, this is what we classify the first cut as the heads of the spirit. The fours, the Scots will call it. The second cut is what we classify as the heart of the spirit. The heart is the good spirit. That's ultimately going to end up in barrel and become whiskey. Okay? So we turn this handle into this receiver. At this stage, we receive the good stuff. These are our hydrometers. We test the temperature and the gravity of the liquor. We want nice, fresh, vibrant flavors for our whiskey. These have more green notes, a little bit kind of more grassy and a little mushroomy in it. It's not bad alcohol, it's still good. In fact, we send it into this receiver, into marry with our heads of our spirit. The heads and the tails will ultimately tomorrow get sent into this still again, married together with our low wines from today's distillation, and we'll recycle that and use it as a bulking agent. It still has lots of great alcohol, and with the contact with copper, it actually cleans that spirit and turns it into something usable. Okay.
It's a highly usable, reusable product, isn't it?
Again, very Scottish.
Yeah.
Not wasting a single product.